The war between humans and the alien race known as the Valeri had finally ended. Many had died. Cities were burned. Stars were darkened. But one brave human soldier, Jack Carter, survived something no one else did. He saved a Valeri noble from death. No one understood why he did it. The Valeri were taller, stronger, and cold-hearted toward humans. They had wings like metal and skin that shimmered like moonlight. They ruled over 10 galaxies, and humans were nothing to them, weak, short-lived, and full of emotion. But when Jack saw that Valeri noble trapped under burning wreckage, crying out for help, he didn't think. He ran, he pulled him out, and he carried him to safety. 3 days later, Jack stood inside a golden palace on a strange alien moon. His uniform was torn. His hands were shaking. In front of him stood the noble he had saved, and beside him was something unexpected. A young alien girl with silver eyes, dressed in soft blue robes. "This," the noble said, "is your reward." Jack blinked. "What do you mean?" "She is my daughter, princess, once promised to a royal bloodline. But she was declared infertile. She cannot carry heirs. In our world, that makes her worthless." The girl did not speak. Her hands were tied with thin, glowing chains. She looked at the floor. Jack stepped back. "You're giving me a person?" The noble smiled without warmth. "She is yours now. Human. Take her." Jack didn't know what to say. He didn't want this. He didn't want a slave or a broken gift. But if he refused, the Valeri might be insulted. He nodded slowly. I'll take her." They gave her a name in his records, Elira. Back on Earth, in the small outpost where Jack lived, he tried to treat Elira with kindness. He unlocked her chains, gave her warm clothes, food, a bed, but she stayed silent. She didn't look him in the eye. He didn't touch her. He didn't order her around. He only asked her once, "Do you want to stay here, or do you want to go?" Her voice was quiet, cold. "I am not allowed to leave. I am yours." Jack shook his head. "No one owns you. Not anymore." Days passed, then weeks, and slowly, something changed. Lyra began to speak. At first, only short answers. Then, she started asking questions. She was smart, very smart. She wanted to understand Earth, humans, emotions. One night, as the wind blew softly outside their small home, Elira came to Jack. Looking pale and confused. "There is something wrong," she said. Jack stood up. "What is it, my body?" "Something is happening inside me. I feel warm, alive, but I was born broken. I cannot carry life." Jack frowned. "What do you mean?" Elira touched her stomach. "I feel movement, a light heartbeat." Jack's eyes widened. "Not possible. Is it?" She looked up at him, fear in her silver eyes. "I don't know." That night, Jack stayed awake, watching her sleep. Her face looked calm, but her hands were shaking. Suddenly, the room filled with a soft, golden glow. The light came from her stomach. It was faint, but real. Jack whispered to himself, this wasn't supposed to happen. Far away, in the deep stars of the Valeri kingdom, a priestess woke from a dream. She had seen the same light. She had heard the voice of an unborn child. She ran to the king's chamber, falling to her knees. "Your daughter, the one called infertile, carries the heir." The king's face turned dark. His fists clenched. "She was given to a human." He roared, "That child is a disgrace." The priestess trembled. "But it lives. It carries your blood." The king stood up. "Then the human must die. And she must be brought back. Now." Back on Earth, Elira stood beside Jack, looking at the stars. Her voice was calm, but her words were full of worry. "If what's inside me is truly alive, they will come for us." Jack nodded. "Then we won't be here when they do." Elira sat by the window. staring at the night sky. The stars didn't look the same anymore. Before, they were cold and silent. Now, they felt closer, warmer like. They were watching her. Inside her body, something had changed. A small spark of life had started. It beat softly like a drum inside her, steady but growing stronger each day. Jack walked into the room, holding a cup of warm tea. Still can't sleep? Elira turned her head. I don't need sleep anymore. I feel energy all the time. Kay sat beside her. Are you scared? She didn't answer right away. Then she nodded slowly. This was never supposed to happen. I was told I could never carry a child. My father called me a dead branch. Jack looked at her gently. You're not broken, Elira. You're more alive than anyone I've ever met. She stared at him. Why are you kind to me? I was given to you like a prize. I have no value to my people. Why do you treat me like I matter? Jack leaned back in the chair. Because you do matter. Not as a gift. Not because of your blood. But because you're you. For the first time, Elira smiled. Small, real smile. Far away, in a dark temple of the Valeri Empire. The king stood before a glowing screen. Images of Earth and Jack's location blinked across it. Round him, royal guards and silent assassins waited for orders. Send them, the king said. Find her. Bring her back alive. Kill the human. The guards bowed. The assassins vanished into the shadows. The king stared at the stars, his face hard and cold. She will not shame our bloodline. Back on Earth, Elira sat in front of a mirror. Her silver skin looked brighter. Her eyes had a golden shine now. She placed a hand on her stomach. She could feel it clearly, the small pulse of life inside her. What do you think it is? She asked Jack. He looked confused. Do you mean the child? It's not fully Valeri, okay, and not fully human. Jack thought for a moment. Maybe it's something new, something better. Lyra's smile faded. They will hunt us. They will call it a monster. He walked over and held her hand. Then we'll protect it. Together. Later that night, Elira had a strange dream. She stood in a field of fire. In front of her was a child with glowing eyes. The child spoke in a voice older than time. You must choose, the child said. Hide or rise. When she woke up, her body felt hot. She rushed to the bathroom and looked in the mirror. A golden mark had appeared on her neck. She touched it, and a vision flashed in her mind, an ancient Valeri prophecy. A child born of both bloods, a bridge between two worlds, a ruler of peace or destruction. She stepped back, breathing fast. It's real. Oh, all of it. The next morning, Jack prepared a bag. We can't stay here. They'll come. Elira nodded. I had a vision. They're already searching. They know I carry the air. As they stepped outside, a bird flew past the metal wings, glowing red eyes. Jack pulled out a scanner. Wait. Not a bird. It's a spy drone. They ran dot across broken roads and hidden paths. They moved quietly through the forest. Jack led the way, checking every sound, every shadow. Lyra followed, her heart racing. They reached an old human outpost, abandoned after the war. Jack broke the lock and led her inside. We can hide here for a while, he said. Elira looked around. It was dark, dusty, and cold, but safe. For now, she whispered. That night, while Jack slept, Elira stood by the window again. She closed her eyes and listened. She could feel the baby's thoughts, soft, warm, curious. Who are you? She whispered. The answer came not in words, but in a feeling. Strength, light, fire. She opened her eyes. You're not just a child. You're a spark, a forbidden spark, dot far above Earth. A black ship floated in silence. Inside, the assassins prepared their weapons. One of them looked at the screen. Elira's face appeared. We found her. Valeri Palace stood tall under the twin suns. Its towers shone like silver fire. Inside the great hall, the air was heavy with silence. The king of Valeri, King Virex, sat on his throne, fists clenched, eyes full of storm. Before him stood the high priestess, her voice shaking. The signs are clear, my king. Your daughter, Elira, the one you cast aside. She is carrying a child. The king's jaw tightened. She was declared infertile. The prophecy speaks of a child born from two bloods. She carries that child now. King Virex stood, and the father, a human, my king. The walls of the palace shook as the king slammed his fist into the stone floor. A human, he growled, has dared touch royal blood. His voice echoed like thunder, far away, on a quiet hill near the abandoned outpost. Jack and Elira sat by a fire. The stars blinked above them, calm and peaceful. But Jack knew that peace would not last long. Elira held her knees, staring into the flames. I feel them surging, like shadows in the wind. Jack looked at her. Then we have to move again. No, she said. We can't run forever. He looked confused. Then, what do we do? Lyra turned to him. Her eyes were glowing faintly. We faced them, the Valeri Palace. Warships, powered up, like armored assassins, known as the Flameborn, received their final orders. Bring the princess back alive, the king said. But the human, destroy him. The lead assassin bowed. As you command, your majesty. The next morning, Jack checked the scanner. A red light blinked. They're close, he said. Only a few clicks away. Elira nodded. Then there's no time to hide. Jack grabbed his rifle and small bag. We head east. There's an old military bunker in the cliffs. We can hold them off there. They moved fast, through thick trees and rocky paths. Elira didn't speak. Her mind was filled with voices, memories, warnings, and something else. A whisper from the child inside her when they reached the bunker. It was cold and dark. It covered everything. Jack set traps around the entrance. If they come, he said, we'll make it hard for them. Elira placed her hand on the wall. Her mark began to glow. What are you doing? Jack asked. This place was once built by humans, but touched by Valeri steel, she said. Ka can feel its energy. Hours later, night fell. Jack sat near the door, weapon ready. Lyra stood in the center of the room, breathing deeply. She could feel it now, closer than ever. It's the presence of the assassins. Suddenly, the ground trembled. Boom. The door flew open. Smoke poured in. Red lights blinked through the haze. The Flameborn had arrived. Jack fired. One assassin fell, but two more stepped forward. Elira raised her hand. Her body glowed with golden light. Stay back, she shouted. The assassins hesitated. They weren't prepared for this. Elira, the lead one, said, come with us. King demands your return. I am not his anymore, she said calmly. I am more than he ever saw in me. Another assassin lunged forward. Jack shot again. The blast hit the ceiling. Rocks fell, blocking part of the entrance. Elira stepped in front of Jack. Her mark shone like a sunburst. You want the child? She said. Then hear this. You cannot stop what is coming. This spark will burn through the lies of your empire. Assassins stepped back. One whispered, she carries the flame. They vanished into smoke, escaping through the side vents. Jack dropped to his knees, breathing hard. Are you okay? Lyra nodded. Yes, for now. It's back in the palace. The king heard the news. The Flameborn failed. The messenger nodded. She used powers we've never seen. They say the child already speaks through her. King Virex's eyes burned. She dares challenge me. She was nothing. He turned to the High Council. Then I will come, myself, prepare the warship. I will burn Earth to ashes if I must. In the bunker, Elira rested. Jack watched over her. Outside, the wind blew softly. I'm sorry, Jack said. This is all because of me. Elira touched his hand. No, Jack. This is because of us. 'Cause love created something they fear. She looked at the stars. They will come again. But next time, I won't just defend. Jack stared at her. Then what will you do? She closed her eyes. I will rise. The bunker was no longer safe. Jack packed quickly. His hands moved fast, but his mind raced even faster. The Flameborn now knew where they were, and if they failed once, they would return stronger. Elira sat on the metal floor, eyes closed, both hands on her glowing stomach. She looked peaceful, but inside her, something powerful stirred. Jack looked at her. We have to leave now. Elira opened her eyes. Yes, I feel them coming again. The king. He's closer. Jack blinked. The king himself. She nodded slowly. He's not just angry now. He's afraid. Above Earth, deep in orbit, the Valeri King's warship cut through space like a burning blade. Inside the command center, King Virik stood, in full battle armor. His face was calm, but his heart was fire. Lock all scanners on the Earth base, he ordered. Prepare the hunter drones. If they try to run, I want them tracked, a voice from the side asked. And the child? The king's face turned hard. It must not be born. Back on the ground, Jack led Elira through hidden paths into the mountain forest. The trees were thick, the air was cold, but they kept moving. They reached a small landing site Jack had built long ago, covered in leaves and dirt. It was nearly invisible. Inside sat his old smuggler, ship Rusty, slow, but still working. Jack pulled off the cover. Not fast, but it'll get us off-world. Elira looked up at the sky. Where will we go? Somewhere deep, Jack said. Somewhere they won't find us. As the ship took off, engines roaring, the sky lit up behind them. A massive black ship appeared, blocking the stars. Jack cursed under his breath. It's the royal warship. Lyra's eyes narrowed. He's here. A red alarm flashed on the ship's screen. The voice of the Valeri King boomed through the comms. You cannot run from me, Elira. Return now. You belong to your blood. Jack cut the signal. Ignore it. Its lasers fired from the Valeri ship. Jack's ship shook hard. Lyra closed her eyes and whispered, Hold on. Suddenly, the ship's power core glowed gold. The controls lit up on their own. The ship leaped forward with a burst of speed Jack had never seen before. He stared at her. You did that? Lyra was breathing fast. I didn't mean to. I just felt the need to protect. Inside her womb, the child pulsed with light. Energy wrapped around them like a shield. The Valeri ship fired again, but the blasts missed. Jack's ship twisted and turned through the stars, slipping between asteroids and moon fragments. They were heading toward the edge of a forbidden zona, place known only as the Void Belt. No one enters there, Jack said. It's unstable. Even machines get lost. Elira looked calm. It's our only chance. Okay. As they crossed the edge of the belt, the stars around them seemed to vanish. Darkness surrounded the ship. Okay. Strange lights flickered outside, like shadows, moving between worlds. Inside the ship, the child's light grew stronger. The golden glow filled the room, warming their skin. Jack stared out the window. Where are we? Elira spoke in a soft voice. This is where the Ancient Ones once lived, a place between time and space. How do you know that? She touched her chest. I don't know, but the child does. And now, I do too. Back in space, the king's warship stopped at the edge of the void. They went inside, the pilot said. Shall we follow? The king looked into the darkness and frowned. No, that place is cursed. Let them be lost. But the prophecy. He turned sharply. Even the prophecy cannot survive the void. If they die in there, so does the threat. He walked away, cape flowing behind him. Inside the void, Jack's ship floated calmly now. Elira looked peaceful. They won't follow us here. Jack leaned back. For now, we're safe. But suddenly, the lights flickered. The walls of the ship began to hum. Then a soft voice, clear and strange, spoke through the speakers. You are not alone, okay? Stood up. What was that? The ship's screen showed a shape-up, bright, glowing form of a woman with wings made of light. Elira stared. That's not a threat. That's a guardian. The figure spoke again. You carry the flame. You carry the hope. But be warned, he will come again with all his power. You must prepare. Then the figure vanished. Jack and Elira looked at each other. This isn't just about us anymore, Jack whispered. Is it? Elira shook her head. No, it's about everything. Sighed the heart of the void. Jack's ship floated in silence. Strange colors moved outside the windows. Blue fire, red clouds, silver shadows. Time felt slower here, like everything was dreaming. Jack sat beside Elira. She looked calm, but something deep in her mind was changing. Since entering the void, her memories were waking up memories that were not hers alone. Elira, Jack whispered, "Are you okay?" She slowly opened her eyes. No. Something inside me is speaking. It's not the child. Something older. Jack leaned closer. What do you mean? She looked at him. I need to go deeper. There is a place in this void, a hidden temple. I don't know how, but I must go there. Jack nodded. 10, we go together. Guided by the glow of Elira's golden mark, the ship moved toward a floating island in the void. It looked like a piece of a forgotten world-dangered stone. Glowing pillars and writing in a language neither of them knew. They landed. The moment Elira stepped onto the temple ground, her mark lit up brighter than ever. The child inside her stirred, almost as if it recognized the place. A voice echoed from the stone walls. Not loud, but deep and strong. Elira of royal blood, you were lied to. Jack reached for his weapon, alert, but Elira stepped forward. I know this voice. It's from my dreams. The floor opened. A round crystal rose from the center. Inside it, a memory played like a vision. They both watched. It showed a young Elira, only a child, being tested by the Valeri priests. The results showed she was fertile, healthy, and strong. But the priests looked nervous. She's a threat, one said. The flame inside her is too pure. Then the king appeared. Erase the records. Say she's infertile. Remove her from the line of power. Elira gasped. They lied. My own father. He knew. Jack's hands curled into fists. He stole your future. Tears ran down Elira's cheeks, but her face was calm. No, she said. He feared my future. Da. Temple shook. More visions appeared of the prophecy written in stone. From broken blood shall rise the flame. From two worlds shall be born the heir, one to burn the chains or rule them. Elira read it out loud. Jack stepped back. Dapt your child. No, she corrected softly. That's our child. Suddenly, alarms blared inside their ship. Jack ran back to the cockpit. They found us, he said. Multiple ships entering the void. Elira stood tall, her voice firm. Then we finished this. No more running. In space, the king's voice echoed through his new warship. I gave her away. I erased her name. Yet she lives, and worse, she carries power. His generals bowed. We will destroy them both. The king raised his hand. No, I will. Back at the temple, Elira placed her hand on the crystal. Light exploded around her. A new outfit appeared on her golden armor, glowing softly like fire. Her mark now spread across her chest and arms. Jack stared. What just happened? She looked powerful, regal. I'm not just a forgotten princess anymore. I am the keeper of the flame. The sky of the void split open. The king's massive ship appeared, followed by dozens of fighters. The temple shook as lasers fired toward it. Jack started the ship. We need to fly. No, Eliras said. We fight. She stepped outside, raising her hand. The golden light around her spread like a shield, blocking the attacks. The king landed near them, armored in black. His face cold. Daughter, surrender now. Eliras stood firm. You are no longer my king. He raised his weapon. Then you are my enemy. A battle of light and fire began. Jack fought beside her, shooting the king's guards. Eliras unleashed waves of energy, protecting them both. But the king was strong, too strong. He struck Eliras with a dark blast. She fell to one knee. Jack shouted, Eliras. But as the king stepped forward to strike again, a loud heartbeat echoed through the void. The child inside her pulsed with light. The ground shook. Eliras rose again, as glowing brighter than ever. You took my future, she said, but you will not touch my child. Okay. With one powerful blast, she pushed the king back. His armor cracked. His weapon shattered. The battle paused. The king stared at her, shocked. You are the flame. Eliras looked at him with strength. No, the flame is coming. I am just the beginning. The sky above the void burned gold and black. The battle was over for now. The king had been defeated in power, but not in pride. His warship floated behind him, damaged but still active. His soldiers waited, afraid to move. Eliras stood tall in golden armor, shining like a star. Jack stood beside her, his gun low but ready. The king wiped blood from his lip and pointed at Eliras. This is not finished. She didn't blink. You tried to erase me. Now the stars know the truth. The king narrowed his eyes. Then let the stars decide. Jack stepped forward. What are you talking about? The king raised one hand. By the old laws of the Valeri, there is one final way. A trial before the stars. Test of worth. If your human survives, he lives. If he fails, he dies. Eliras gasped. No, the king raised his voice. You will not speak for him. Only he can choose. Jack looked at Eliras. What is this trial? She looked afraid. It's called the Circle of Flame, a battle. Inside a living ring of fire. You fight your fate or burn with it. Jack turned to the king. Then I accept. Jack, no. Eliras grabbed his arm. You don't need to prove anything. He looked into her eyes. I'm not doing this to prove something. I'm doing this to protect what we've built. You, our child, our future. An hour later, Jack stood shirtless inside a glowing circle made of pure flame. The heat was real alive, burning his skin even before the battle began. Across from him stood a flame-born warrior, tall and deadly, with red eyes and silver blades. Eliras stood outside the circle, watching with a heart full of fear. The king sat on a throne of stone nearby, eyes fixed on the trial. The signal was given. The warrior charged. Jack ducked and rolled. The crowd, alien nobles and soldiers, watched in silence. This was no ordinary fight. This was a ritual written in blood. Jack was fast, but the warrior was faster. Cuts opened on his arms and chest. Blood dripped onto the fire below, making it hiss. Eliras couldn't take it. She ran to the edge of the circle, shouting, "Please stop. He's not one of us." Kang sneered. "Then he will die as one of yours." Jack fell to one knee. The warrior lifted his blade for a final strike. Then a The flame circle pulsed. Elira's golden mark lit up. The child inside her began to glow. Time seemed to stop. The flame circle responded, not to the warrior, but to the unborn child. Golden fire wrapped around Jack, protecting him. The blade hit the shield and bounced away. The crowd gasped. Elira stepped into the circle. The flames did not burn her. They moved aside. She walked to Jack and helped him stand. You are not alone. Da. Flame around them lifted into the sky. The warrior dropped his weapon and bowed. The fire itself had chosen. The king stood in shock. This is impossible. An elder priest from the Valerie stepped forward. It is the will of the stars. The trial is over. The flame has accepted. Both of them. The king's hands shook. His rule was breaking. Elira faced him. I am your daughter. You cast me away. Now I carry the future. A child of two worlds. Jack held her hand. We don't need your throne, but we won't run anymore. The king took a step back. Silence around him said more than words. His soldiers did not defend him. The nobles didn't speak. He turned and left. Later that night, under a sky full of stars, Elira and Jack sat quietly beside a small fire. She cleaned his wounds while he winced with a smile. You could have warned me about that blade. Jack joked. She smiled softly. You didn't need a warning. You needed faith. He looked at her belly. The child. What was that power? Elira placed a hand over it. I think it's not just part of us. It's part of something bigger. Jack looked up at the stars. Then, what happens next? Elira's eyes sparkled. Now, we rise together. The stars above were quiet. The war had paused. The king had left in silence. But deep in the void, something greater was about to begin. Elira stood near the edge of the ancient temple. Her golden armor shimmered softly in the dim light. The mark on her chest pulsed with power. The child inside her was ready. Jack stood close, watching her closely. Are you sure it's time? She nodded slowly. Yes, the flame is coming. Suddenly, the ground beneath them began to glow. The temple responded to the child's presence. Warm wind swirled through the air. The sky turned a deep shade of gold. Elira fell to her knees, gripping her stomach. Jack rushed forward. Elira. She held his hand. It's okay. Okay? I feel no pain. Just fire. A fire inside me. The temple's walls opened slowly, revealing a hidden chamber circular, full of old symbols and floating crystals. It was the chamber of rebirth. Once used only by the ancient flame bearers of Valerie, Elira was carried inside by Jack. As she lay in the center of the chamber, a ring of golden energy surrounded her. Light rose from the floor like water. She looked at Jack with calm eyes. No matter what happens, don't be afraid. Jack squeezed her hand. I'm not. I'm with you. Always. Then, the moment came. A blast of light filled the room. The child was born, not in blood and pain, but in flame and silence. The glow faded, and in Elira's arms rested a small baby, wrapped in warmth and gold. The baby opened its eyes. They were not fully human, not fully Valerie. They were something new. The eyes were bright with stars, not just color, but light. Like galaxies lived inside them. Jack looked in awe. He, or she, is beautiful, Elira whispered. He is the heir of the flame. Outside the chamber, something incredible began to happen. The broken void stopped shifting. The sky turned blue for the first time in centuries. The dead stars nearby began to glow again from across galaxies. Creatures and beings looked toward the void. They felt it. A new force had entered the universe. A bridge between two worlds. A light against darkness. Far away, inside his ship, King Virik sat alone in his throne room. He stared at the stars with empty eyes. A small screen flickered beside him. The image of the baby appeared. One of his advisors entered. The people have heard the prophecy. They speak of the child as a sign. Some now call him the Flameborn King. The king said nothing. The advisor continued, "Do we fight?" The king stood slowly. His armor was gone, his shoulders heavy. "No," he said, "there is no war left. My rule ends here." And with that, he walked into the shadows. Back at the temple, Jack held the child in his arms while Eliras rested. The baby looked at him, blinking slowly. "You're going to change everything," Jack said softly. Eliras opened her eyes. "We already have." Jack smiled. "What now?" Eliras stood with the baby. "Now we return to the stars, but not as runners, not as rebels. We return as leaders." They boarded their ship, now glowing with golden markings. As they left the void, messages began coming from nearby planets' humans, Valeri and others, asking for peace, for guidance. They didn't return to Earth or the Valeri capital. They created a new home, a place for all who didn't belong, a place where no one would be cast away like Eliras once was. Years passed, legends grew out. People spoke of a human who dared to love an alien princess, of a child born in light, who healed the cracks between stars, of a flame that never burned to destroy but to unite. And in the center of that story stood Eliras, once broken, now whole. Jack, once a forgotten soldier, now a symbol of hope, and the child known across galaxies as the new era child of flame, born not from power, but from love.